Ellen?
No.
Okay. Lou, we're
can
on
call
the
me
record.
Ellen if you like.
That could be a good thing. Okay. The meeting will come to order. Council agenda. Township of Parsippany Troy Hills. Township Council agenda meeting of September 12th, 2017.
Posting of notice. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law by filing the notice in the office of the Township Clerk and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin board of the Municipal Building on December 21st, 2016, where it has remained posted since that date. A legal notice appeared in the Daily Record on December 27th, 2016, and the Newark Star Ledger on December 27, 2016, and was forwarded by fax to other local newspapers and local radio stations on December 21st, 2016. Note, council meetings are videotaped and aired on Cablevision, Public Access Channel 21 at 11 o'clock a.m., and are also available for viewing at www.parsippany.net.
If everyone could please rise for the flag salute. Mr. Peluso?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Khalid, roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Here.
Mr. DePiero?
Here.
Ms. Grignani?
Present.
Mr. Peluso?
Present.
Mr. Valori?
Present.
Also in attendance are Township Attorney John Inglesino, CFO Ann Cucci. Alan Sandman is excused for this meeting, and Mayor Jamie Barbario is here as well. Council President, we have a quorum. You may begin.
Thank you, Khalid. Upcoming meetings, September 26th, 2017. That'll be at 7:30 p.m. That'll be our regular meeting. The following would be October 3rd, 2017, at 7:30 p.m. That'll be our agenda meeting. Approval of minutes.
They'll be placed on the next agenda.
Thank you. We're going to move on to presentation reports. Mayor?
Ready? Jake?
You know Jake?
Hi, Jake.
Hi, Jake.
Jake can probably beat us all up.
Yes?
Well, Jake, I have a proclamation from the mayor of the township on your successes in Taekwondo. So I'm going to read the proclamation. Ready? Is this on? Okay, you're not ready.
No, hold on.
Hold on, Mayor. Claude's going to help you out there. There it goes.
Township of Parsippany Troy Hills proclamation. Whereas Parsippany is a township filled with excitement because Jake Evan de Guzman has won a bronze medal at the 2017 Taekwondo National Championships held this summer in Detroit, Michigan. And whereas in January 2017, Jake's team, Miracles USA Taekwondo team, earned a gold medal at the U.S. Open International Championship in Las Vegas in the team freestyle, and Jake additionally earned the silver in the individual freestyle. Last spring, Jake took first place in New Jersey State qualifiers, and whereas Jake trains under Master Suji Kong of Miracles USA Taekwondo in Parsippany, where he studies the art of Taekwondo, enabling him to enhance self-esteem by heightening physical and mental powers. Building confidence and promoting respect, self-control, and perseverance are some of the greatest benefits of this Olympic sport. And whereas the recognition and celebration of Jake Evan de Guzman's accomplishments bring our community together in honoring one of our own. He represents the outstanding tradition of excellence of our community's student athletes and the unwavering pride and spirit of heartfelt of Parsippany. It's the best part. Now therefore, I, James R. Barbera, the mayor of the Township of Parsippany Troy Hills, sincerely thank Jake Evan de Guzman for his steadfast discipline, devotion, and determination to succeed, and to hereby extend congratulations on his many achievements and the pride he has brought to his family, his masters, and his peers. Dated this 12th day of September, 2017. Jake, that's for you.
Outstanding.
Okay, now, would you like to say anything?
Parents.
All right, we're going to bring this down to you. All right, Jake, here you go.
I would like to thank all my parents, my former master, and my master right now, and all my friends and peers who have helped me gain this proclamation today. And really, that's it. I just want to say thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
take a picture,
Wow.
picture.
Yes, you have to come up there, yes.
Yes, picture.
Congratulations on
I know, come on up.
Take
Come
pictures.
on up.
Let the family take a picture.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
All right.
Mayor, you met your match.
There you go. Yeah. Not what I used to be anyway, so. Oh, we're gonna get a picture. Okay, here we go. We're not shy, right?
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Great, thank you.
Congratulations again. Congratulations. Well, you're a student. And wish you the best. Anytime you want to stop by town hall, feel free. Just don't come and beat me up, okay? There's a lot of people who want it.
They may need him, Mayor.
They might need them.
So I'll use you as my bodyguard. How's that? All right.
Thank you.
Jake. Good job.
Great job.
Congratulations. So I got a new bodyguard, guys.
Two.
Yeah, that-
Crap, I wasn't about a minute.
Good stuff, good stuff. All right, we're going to move on to the business administrator. Ann, did you want to fill in for Ellen on anything?
I'll just speak. I'll speak for us at my part.
Okay,
All right.
so you'll do it so as the CFO and the BA.
Yeah, I'm a big shot
Okay.
today.
You have 3 minutes.
But I'll be quick.
Okay.
All right. First, I just want to mention that we had the bond sale of, it was the $62 million bond sale. We did very well because we had 6 bidders, and they had to put up $1.2 million just to even have the rights to bid on our bonds. So it was kind of neat to watch because there's online auctions and they go back and forth auctioning against each other for a good rate. So the average rate that we ended up getting was 2.27% over 13-year bond, 62 million. So congratulations. They were really looking to buy our bonds, so very excited about that.
Very good.
Yeah, we're going to close on that a couple next week, I believe. And also, we are going to close on the Puzio Farms property this week. So that's
good.
basically it.
Wonderful, thank you.
How
That's
quick
all?
was that?
Oh, outstanding.
Council President, I had asked at the last meeting that we change this to put the business administrator and the chief financial officer one after the other.
Yes, you did.
You're gonna have to push Inglesino down a peg.
Okay, yes, we're going to have to push them to the very, very
Okay.
back of
So
the
for the
agenda.
record, on the advice of Councilman DePiero, we're pushing Mr. Inglesino down a peg. Okay.
Yes,
Didn't come
yes.
from me.
Yes, so we'll
Or
flip that around.
either above them or below them, but I like, those two should be together.
You got it.
Okay, yes.
No problem.
Thank you, Mr. DePiero.
Thank you.
All right, John, since Mike has ruined your self-esteem, you're next.
Well, I intend to redeem my self-esteem tonight. 2 items, Mr. Council President. One concerns ordinance 2017-23. This is an ordinance of the Township of Parsippany Troy Hills, amending and revising Chapter 329 sewers, sewer connection fees and water connection fees. A prior title to this ordinance, which appeared on the agenda, did not contain the word connection before fees.
Okay.
And I think there were some inquiries about what this ordinance pertained to. This ordinance does not, and I want to underscore, does not raise water or sewer user fees on the people of Parsippany Troy Hills. That is not what this ordinance does.
Okay.
This ordinance addresses strictly connection fees, which are paid by developers when you want to connect water or sewer to a new development, or you want to expand capacity at an existing site. Those fees, again paid for by the property owner, are intended to offset the debt and contribute to the capital cost and infrastructure of your water and sewer utilities. That's the statutory basis for the fees. They are charged by virtually every municipality in the state of New Jersey, and theoretically, you're supposed to update them every year. It's been a couple of years since these fees have been updated. So this is merely reflects an updated connection fee schedule
Okay.
based upon input from your consultant, Frank Magraviti, who's been representing the township on these matters for some time. So I just wanted to clarify that. No fees are rising on the people of Parsippany. This is a fee that's on developers for new connections and expansion of existing connections to your infrastructure.
No, and I appreciate you clarifying that too. Thank you.
Mr. Council President, the next matter that I have, you had asked me to provide an update on the Carifi litigation. There was a plethora of activity on that litigation, and there's been a lot of public interest in the case and a lot of inquiries made at the council meetings. A lot of those questions, frankly, we really haven't been at liberty to discuss, but now, in light of where the litigation is, I wanted to respond to your request that I provide an update. As I think many of you know, there were 3 Carifi litigations, and since October 31st of 2011, the township has been embroiled in litigation with James Carifi. On that day, Mr. Carifi filed a 7-count complaint against the township wherein he alleged claims arising out of events that occurred between September 3rd, 2009 and October 14, 2011. That litigation is commonly known as Carifi 1. And to summarize Mr. Carifi's claims in Carifi 1, Mr. Carifi alleged that he was retaliated against and improperly denied promotion to Deputy Chief of Police of the Parsippany Troy Hills Police Department. The township denied those allegations and has vigorously defended itself throughout the course of that litigation. The fact is, as I've said publicly before, Mr. Carifi was not promoted to the position of Deputy Police Chief because he was not legally eligible to be promoted. He was not on the list, and he never even took the test to be on the list. Mr. Carifi also claims that he was retaliated against in the police department in violation of the New Jersey Conscientious Employee Protection Act, which is known as SEPA. During the course of litigation in Carifi 1, Mr. Carifi produced confidential documents which he should not have been in possession, custody, or control of. And as a result of this disclosure, the township initiated an investigation to determine how Mr. Carifi came into possession of these documents. There were also litigation reasons for that as well. To aid in this investigation, a forensic analysis of Mr. Carifi's assigned police computer department computer network share and email account was conducted by Aurora Information Security and Risk. At this time, Mr. Carifi was a member of the Parsippany Troy Hills Police Department. On March 19th of 2013, while the township's investigation was ongoing, Mr. Carifi unexpectedly and abruptly submitted written notice of his intent to leave the employ of the police department on April 1 of 2013. Following Mr. Carifi's sudden departure from the police department, the township completed its investigation and uncovered evidence that demonstrates Mr. Carifi violated the Computer-Related Offenses Act, which is at NJSA 2A:38A-1 at SEC, which is known as the CROA statute, which imposes liability upon actors who purposely or knowingly and without authorization engage in conduct that is proscribed by that statute. From this investigation, the township learned that Mr. Carifi, on the eve of his abrupt resignation from the police department, intentionally downloaded and then deleted almost the entire contents of his township-assigned computer, email account, and network share file. The township attempted to retrieve its property back from Mr. Carifi voluntarily, but when he refused to comply, the township was forced to file a lawsuit to compel Mr. Carifi to return the township's property. That lawsuit was filed on October 2nd, 2013, and this litigation is commonly referred to as Carifi 2. In Carifi 2, the township alleged that Mr. Carifi violated the CROA statute that I just referenced, again, when he intentionally and without authorization downloaded for post-employment possession data contained on his township-assigned computer, email account, and network share file, and then deleted this information from the township's computer network, again, just before, literally the evening before he resigned from the police department. And many people have asked, why did the township file a lawsuit, and why can't this case or these cases be settled? And those are legitimate questions, and here are some answers. The township filed a lawsuit in Carifi 2 for 2 primary reasons. First, to retrieve the confidential information he wrongfully took and currently wrongfully possesses. That information contains social security numbers, health information, and other proprietary information that no person outside township government should possess. If that information were to be used by Mr. Karifi, those victims would have serious causes of action against the township, which could expose township taxpayers to significant damages. My job as municipal attorney is to do all I can to get the township's property back, and that's really what the case has been all about. Second, the township cannot permit egregious conduct, such as that of Mr. Karifi, to establish a precedent of acceptable behavior. Let me be clear. Mr. Karifi's actions are abhorrent, and we will do all we can to retrieve the township's property back. Immediately after filing its complaint, the township was granted a restraining order by the court, which enjoined and continues to enjoin Mr. Karifi from destroying, disseminating, damaging, or altering electronic data that he downloaded, emailed, or otherwise unlawfully obtained from the township, and from using, altering, destroying, or disposing of any disk, hard drive, electronic storage device, or other electronic media in his possession that was ever attached, inserted, or connected to the township's computer systems. In addition, the court also ordered Mr. Karifi to return the township data. Again, this is back in October of 2013. In an effort to secure and account for the data information removed by Mr. Karifi, the township was forced to engage in considerable motion practice in Karifi 2 that resulted in several orders finding Mr. Karifi in contempt and in violation of litigants' rights. It is sufficient to say that as a result of this motion practice, the court found that Mr. Karifi willfully failed to comply with various court orders and ordered him to produce all outstanding removable media devices in his possession. Ultimately, as a result of these orders, Mr. Karifi at 4 different times throughout the litigation turned over 4 devices. Despite turning over these devices, the township uncovered evidence that Mr. Karifi did not return all of the data that he removed from the township's computer network and refused to turn over a second Apple computer that the township identified as having access by one of Mr. Karifi's devices after the injunction was levied by the court. So to this day, nearly 4 years after this litigation was filed, and years after the court orders were entered enjoining Mr. Karifi from disseminating the township's property and ordering its return to the township, the evidence provides that Mr. Karifi continues to wrongfully possess the township's data that he has been ordered to return, and that he continues to move the township's data to different computers. If Mr. Karifi had simply complied with the court's order, Karifi 2 would have ended years ago. In February 2014, Mr. Karifi filed a third-party complaint in Karifi 2 against Mayor Barbario, myself, an associate in my law office, Chief of Police Paul Phillips, and the township's consultant, Aurora. In response to this third-party complaint, the mayor and I, as well as other named third-party defendants, all filed motions to dismiss. On or about November 12, 2014, on the eve of these motions being heard, Mr. Karifi voluntarily agreed to dismiss the third-party defendants from Karifi 2. However, unbeknownst to the township and us third-party defendants, on December 26, 2014, Mr. Karifi filed a separate action against them and others. This action is commonly known as Karifi 3. In Karifi 3, Mr. Karifi asserted 13 tort claims against myself, Mayor Barbario, Chief Phillips, and Aurora, as well as breach of contract claims against the township. Mr. Karifi's tort claims arise out of the township's investigation of his township-assigned computer. On June 10, 2016, the court heard motions to dismiss Mr. Karifi's complaint in Karifi 3. As a result of court rulings, 6 of Mr. Karifi's claims were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they cannot be refiled, and 5 of Mr. Karifi's claims were dismissed without prejudice, meaning they could be refiled. And Mr. Karifi was given very limited leave or permission to try to replead those 5 claims. So in July 8th of 2016, Mr. Karifi filed a second amended complaint and attempted to correct the deficiencies noted by the court in his prior complaint. Mr. Karifi also improperly included my law firm as a defendant in this plea. On August 25th, 2017, just a week or so ago, The court heard oral argument on the motions to dismiss Mr. Karifi's second amended complaint in Karifi 3. At that hearing, the court granted our motions to dismiss and dismissed Mr. Karifi's second amended complaint with prejudice in full. In rejecting Mr. Karifi's arguments that he had a privacy interest in the township computer, the court held that, and I quote from the judge, "The search was reasonable and there was no expectation of privacy," close quote. The court went on to add that Attorney General guidelines do, quote, "not shield police officers or police supervisors from being subjected to investigations both internally and criminally. If an officer is under investigation, it's not reasonable to believe that his computer cannot be searched," close quote. As a result of this, the court's ruling, there are no pending claims against myself, the mayor, Chief Phillips, or Aurora. Finally, the court rejected and dismissed Mr. Karifi's breach of contract claims against the township, finding that Mr. Karifi failed to adhere to and comply with the terms of the Superior Officers Association agreement. Now, so Karifi 3 is completely dismissed, and it's dismissed with prejudice. Returning to Karifi 1 and 2, on March 20th of 2017, the presiding judge of the Law Division in Morris County entered an order that consolidated Karifi 1 and Karifi 2 matters for trial and scheduled the consolidated trial date for September 5th, 2017, but did so without prejudice, meaning that the trial judge would make the ultimate decision on whether or not Karifi 1 and Karifi 2 would be separated or bifurcated. Following that order, the township and Mr. Karifi engaged in pretrial procedures that included filing motions, what we call motions ad limine, which concern evidence issues at trial, and serving trial subpoenas on witnesses. The township filed 28 motions in limine, including a motion to sever the consolidated trial of Karifi 1 and Karifi 2 into two separate trials. Mr. Karifi filed 14 motions in limine. Mr. Karifi also served 22 trial subpoenas, many of which contained improper document demands to various witnesses. As a result of Mr. Karifi's trial subpoenas, the township was forced to file 15 motions to quash subpoenas. Although we believe Mr. Karifi's claims are meritless, the township has attempted to enter into reasonable settlement negotiations in an effort to end these cases. Mr. Karifi's idea of settlement was anything but reasonable. Mr. Karifi's idea of settlement was to extort the taxpayers of Parsippany Troy Hills of $4.3 million. Yes, he demanded consistently $4.3 million to settle his claims against the township. He demanded the township did not entertain, and for good reason. On August 24th, 2017, the trial judge heard argument on the township's motion to sever the consolidated trial of Karifi 1 and Karifi 2. At the conclusion of that hearing, the trial judge granted the township's motion and ordered the severing of the consolidated trial. As a result of this ruling, the trial of Karifi 2 has been indefinitely postponed, and the trial of Karifi 1 remained scheduled for September 5th, 2017. This was a tremendous victory for the township because Mr. Karifi first sought to consolidate the trials of Karifi 1 and 2 in order to improperly expand his claims against the township in Karifi 1. The trial judge saw right through this ploy, and the Karifi 1 trial is currently underway in Morristown. Beginning on August 28, 2017, and continuing for the next several days, the trial judge heard argument on the township's motion to quash and the parties' motions ad limine that pertain to Karifi 1. The results of these hearings were as follows. All of the township's motions to quash were granted. All but 2 of the township's motions ad limine were granted. And only 3 of Karifi's motions ad limine were granted. The practical effect of these rulings is very impactful on Mr. Karifi's claims against the township, as Mr. Karifi has been barred from presenting certain evidence or witnesses at the trial of Karifi 1 that the court found to be irrelevant, improper, and prejudicial. The rulings against the township were insignificant and do not impact the township's defense strategy whatsoever. Needless to say, the township is very pleased with those rulings. The trial of Karifi 1 is limited to the sole issue of whether Mr. Karifi was retaliated against between 2009 and 2011. That's the only time frame that is at issue in Karifi 1. In violation of the SEPA Act, which I described earlier, and whether or not he was improperly denied a promotion to Deputy Police Chief. The town remains steadfast that Mr. Karifi was not eligible for a promotion to Deputy Chief and that he was not retaliated against whatsoever. Just as the court dismissed Mr. Karifi's claims against myself, the mayor, Chief Phillips, and Karifi 3, the township is confident that the jury in Karifi 1 will also see the lack of merits to Mr. Karifi's claims in Karifi 1. I want to make a few comments on a personal note, because I've been personally attacked by candidates running for mayor, by Karifi backers, for excessive legal fees. And those attacks have come for years, and I've said nothing because, for many reasons, not the least of which was I was a defendant in the case. Interestingly, all the candidates who have run against Mayor Barbario, and were all backed by James Karifi, and he worked hard, Mr. Karifi did, on their campaigns. The fact is that James Karifi has consistently demanded $4.3 million to settle the Karifi cases.
That's not true.
And that is,
You know it.
and that is without, well, I have a letter,
All right, just
which I will get to in a
one at a time.
moment.
When you're done, I'll talk.
The fact is that James Karifi has consistently demanded $4.3 million to settle the Karifi cases. And that is without Mr. Karifi giving the township's property back, which the evidence states he continues to wrongfully possess in violation of clear court orders. The township's legal fees and consulting fees are a mere pittance compared to the $4.3 million consistently demanded by Karifi, not to mention the millions of dollars in damages that could be claimed by potential victims as a result of further Karifi misuse of the information that he continues to wrongfully possess. That is not to say that this or other weak or meritless cases do not have some value for settlement purposes. But at no time did the Karifi cases warrant $4.3 million or an amount even remotely close to that. And that is why the administration and the council have refused to settle these cases. As absurd as this may sound, there are people in this community, misguided as they may be, who apparently support giving James Karifi $4.3 million. These are the people who blame me for James Karifi's misdeeds and unwillingness to settle on reasonable terms. These are the people who consistently complain about legal fees, which, by the way, are below historic trends if you subtract the fees attributed to the Karifi cases. Most of the folks complaining are aspiring politicians, like Michael Soriano, candidate for mayor, who is making legal fees and feral cats the cornerstones of his campaign. I won't comment on feral cats, but his legal fee griping is right out of the James Karifi playbook. And it goes something like this. Legal fees are too high. I'll bring down legal fees, so vote for me. The problem with Mr. Soriano's argument is that it's false and it's a cover for James Karifi. Again, legal fees are substantially below historic norms, but for the money spent on the Karifi litigation. So if you think legal fees are high in this town, it's because of the Karifi case. And if you're blaming me for the legal fees in the Karifi case, then you necessarily favor giving Karifi $4.3 million because that's what it would have taken to settle the cases. You can't have it both ways. That is to say, you can't favor litigating Karifi, but not incurring the cost of the litigation, which again is much less than $4.3 million. And you can't demand settling unless you are willing to pay the $4.3 million. But there's more to the Karifi playbook. You have to go door to door to trash my reputation, which I hear is exactly what Mr. Soriano is in the process of doing when he goes door to door to the people of Parsippany. Mr. Soriano should ask some of the folks up here on this dais just how well that strategy worked for them when they ran for mayor. Clearly, Mr. Soriano has welcomed the support of James Karifi, who by numerous accounts is a fixture at Soriano's headquarters. So you have to ask, why would Soriano so enthusiastically accept the support of a disgraced former police officer who attempted to shake down Parsippany taxpayers for $4.3 million? It's an interesting question, and the answer, in my view, does not bode well for Mr. Soriano. So, Mr. Soriano, I'm going to make you this promise, and it's a pledge. If you don't stop defaming my reputation and lying about fees, then I'm going to start telling the truth about you. I can almost understand why you're coming after me. Here you are, a guy who has never served in the township in any way whatsoever, never been on the council, never served on a board, never coached a Little League team. You couldn't possibly have any idea what it takes to lead a community. And yet your ego is apparently so inflated and distorted that you believe you should be mayor. Yes, I can understand why a guy like you would get into the proverbial bed with a taxpayer shakedown artist like James Carifi. But what does that say about you, Mr. Soriano? And what does that say about your regard for the taxpayers? So, Mr. Soriano, run your campaign, but be admonished. I will defend my character, I will defend my reputation directly with the people of this great community, which I have a constitutional right to do on my own time and with my own money. You see, Mr. Soriano, unlike you, I've been serving in government right here in Morris County for nearly 30 years. I'm proud of my record as a former mayor, a former freeholder, and a municipal attorney. And there's a lesson I learned a long time ago in politics. When candidates can't talk about the issues, they talk about the people. So, Mr. Soriano, stop talking about me and stick to feral cats. As we lawyers like to say, when you think about attacking my reputation, be guided accordingly. Now, Mr. Council President, I would like to just address one last point,
Okay.
and that is the point about the $4.3 million. I have a letter here dated December 2nd of 2016. It is signed by Christopher Deininger, who is counsel of record to Mr. Carifi and has been counsel of record to Mr. Carifi for some time, which I would like to read into the record. It is addressed to my lawyer, Mr. Quinn. Mr. Quinn, this letter is in response to the one you sent on November 30th, 2016, regarding Mr. Carifi's settlement position for global resolutions of his disputes with Parsippany. His position is unchanged at the present time. As was the case when we were in mediation before retired Judge Weisenbeck, he is demanding a lump sum payment of $4.3 million. Mr. Carifi does have a pending settlement demand for the resolution of Carifi 1, but it does not extend to the other pending matters. Regarding a demand as to Mr. Inglesino and his law firm of the claims asserted in Carifi 3, I do not have one for my client. Do let me know if you would like to start a dialogue, and I will approach my client. $4.3 million is the global settlement demand. It was made, and that extends back to the mediation that was made by Mr. James Carifi through his lawyer in a letter to my lawyer, which I have right here. So to say that it wasn't a consistent demand, it wasn't a demand for $4.3 million, is just factually inaccurate. I have it in black and white from his counsel.
And that was dated when?
That is dated December 2nd of 2016.
About 9-10 months ago.
And it is the
When he's done, I'm gonna talk.
it is the only demand, and that demand was unchanged. That demand was unchanged. There was never any subsequent correspondence that came out and said, no, we'll take, $1 million or $2 million. There was never any subsequent correspondence. This is the only piece of correspondence that evidences his demand, and it's the same demand that was made at the mediation. Thank you, Mr. Council
Done.
President.
Good.
And the only other thing I'd say is that, I'd be happy to answer whatever questions that I can. At this point, the preparation for the game, at least with regard to Carifi 1, has been completed, and they're sort of playing the game right now, as it were, in the sense that there is a trial. I try to answer any questions that folks may have to the extent that I can. There may be some issues that are, would be protected, but obviously we're trying to get out as much information as we can to the public because this case has been very expensive from the public's perspective, and so there deserves to be a discussion about it, and the township has been, and certainly I have been, silent on the matter for a great many years, and this is really the appropriate time to provide this summary and to start to get our version of the facts out into the public domain to address all of the misinformation that continues to be out there.
Okay, just for the record, gentlemen, I know there's some motions here. I just don't want any arguing going on.
No, there's not gonna be
No,
any.
you could
Okay.
go next, that's all.
So, first off, Mr. Inglesino, about 98% of what you just said, is a lie. Secondly, how much did it just cost our town for you to write up that 8-page thing you just read. You just build the town for that. It always seems to be, you always want to attack whoever's running against Mr. Barbario right before the election. You claim about how people up here ran against Mr. Barbario. I lost by 89 votes. That means almost 50% of this town wants to get rid of Mr. Barbario, and that was 4 years ago. Who knows what it is now, the percentage, okay? You're gonna state that you went out and hired your buddy from Aurora, who billed the town $800,000. Then when it hit the press, Ellen Sandman goes back and negotiates, and the guy takes $460,000 off the bill. Who does that? I have no idea. You know when all the facts come out in this case. You want to attack me, you want to attack my brother. You're doing it because you want to maintain your $1 million a year job here in this town, and you know it. The residents of this town see right through all this. They know what's going on here. You can say what you want. You know the facts. You had my brother's computer. My brother worked for 26 years in law enforcement, did not have one disciplinary problem, one disciplinary action against him in 26 years. I run for mayor, and whoa, all of a sudden, he goes and does all these things mysteriously right after I announce I'm running for mayor.
Mr. Griffiths, I beg, and I don't mean
All right.
to interrupt you, but I do have a job to do as township attorney.
I know you do.
I am not under any conflict. I am not a litigant in the case. You, as the brother of litigant in the case, frankly, are acting inappropriately under the
I'm acting
Wyzakowski
inappropriate.
decision.
Isn't your partner
Under
representing the town?
the Wyzakowski decision and the local public ethics law, you are precluded from participating in any aspect of litigation concerning your brother.
Okay, you're gonna shut
And
me
I
up.
would
I
say
know
for the
what you're gonna
record that it's inappropriate for you
Okay.
to participate or comment in any way
Okay.
on litigation concerning your brother. And I have an obligation to advise you of that under New Jersey state
All
law,
right.
which could not be
All
clear.
right, I won't
I
talk.
say that for your own protection.
I won't talk anymore.
All right, I appreciate everybody's input here. John, in regards to getting us updated as to the matter with the lawsuit, Paul. We're going to move on to the township clerk.
No report at this time, Council President. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to the township office committee reports. I know, Loretta, you had some information to put out.
Yes, Craftsman's Farm at Stickley Museum is having a family day this Saturday, the 16th. They're located on Route 10 in Morris Plains. The time is 12 o'clock in the afternoon till 5 p.m. It's a great opportunity to bring your families, your grandchildren, children. It's a great day. There are events, there's hay rides, and it's just a lovely event. And if anyone can attend with their children, I would advise you to please attend. Thank you.
Anybody else up here? Mike?
Yeah, it's not a committee yet. A couple of weeks ago at our last meeting, I recommended that we form an advisory committee to make our animal shelter a no-kill shelter
Yeah, you did bring it up,
and
yes.
to implement TNR.
Yes.
And it's interesting that there's an article on Focus Now on that very subject.
Yes.
But I'm moving forward with that. I have 4 volunteers to serve on the committee.
Okay.
I did not get a response back from St. Hubert's. There are 68 no-kill shelters in the state of New Jersey.
Okay.
We don't have to reinvent the wheel, so I'm trying to find someone from one of these nearby no-kill shelters that will share information with us, and then I'll set up a committee meeting, and so we have someone there who can tell us about what the approximate cost is, how long they retain animals,
Okay.
that kind of a thing, so that I can report back, and hopefully I can get this done before the 2018 budget. So if we do need some funds, we can
We'll
put them
incorporate
in
that in
there.
there, yes. All right, thank you, Mike. Hopefully you'll get some input back on that. Thank you. Mr. Paluso, anything to report?
Not this time.
Okay. No one else? Paul?
No.
Okay. We're going to move on to the engineer report. Did you want to read, Paul? or you want me to?
Sure, I'll
Okay.
Manor Lake Dam, construction activity is in progress and will continue into the fall. No council action required. FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Project, the last house will be demolished by the end of September. The paperwork for the reimbursement is being prepared and will be submitted over the next month. No council action required. Lake Parsippany Road Improvements, Phase 5 project. Road improvements on this phase of the subject are continuing and will be substantially complete by the end of September. No council action required. 2017 road resurfacing project, the milling and resurfacing of various streets throughout the township has commenced. Included in the project is repair of damaged curb and replacement of handicap ramps where needed within the project limits. All work is expected to be substantially complete in mid-October. No council action required.
Great. Correspondence, none. Bids to be taken, August 29th, 2017, installation of new RKI custom A-line equipment service body on water department truck. August 30th, 2017, rehabilitation services for wells 14 and 21. September 6, 2017, gravity sewer pipe installation below Route 202 overpass of Route 287. To be taken, September 13, 2017, one new type H100E super ambulance for the Rockaway Neck Ambulance Squad or approval equivalent. Quotations, proposal, qualifications, none. I'd like to entertain a motion to open up the public hearing.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Karifi, second by Mr. Paluso. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Floor is open to the public.
Great. If there's anyone from the public, you could please come forward. Just please sign and state your name. You'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Bob Venezia. I live at 102 Brooklawn Drive. For the past several months, I've been coming here before the council to discuss the most important issue facing Parsippany in decades, and that's affordable housing. By itself, Parsippany's affordable housing quota might be doable. However, when the affordable units proposed by the Fair Share Housing Center are coupled with the market-priced units that the developers are allowed to construct, the total number of housing units reaches a threshold that will literally overwhelm the township. Based on the 15% affordable set-aside rate proposed for the 1515 Route 10 project, up to 16,000 total apartment units will be needed to fulfill our affordable housing quota. A raw number such as 16,000 is often difficult to put into perspective. So I'll try to relate it to something more tangible and more understandable. Every man, woman, and child currently residing in the city of Morristown can fit into our quota of new apartment units with enough room left over to accommodate every man, woman, and child in the township of Boonton. Upgrading Parsippany's infrastructure to accommodate all of these new residents, new students, and new traffic may take decades if it can be done at all. In the meantime, creating affordable housing opportunities for a select few will come at a steep price of overcrowding roads and schools for the entire township. Now, I know that as soon as I'm finished talking, Mr. Inglesino will correctly point out that the Supreme Court of New Jersey does not care if living conditions in Parsippany deteriorate because of overcrowding. But the residents of Parsippany do care what happens to their town. And our mayor and our council should also care enough to use every legal avenue available to reduce our affordable housing obligation to a fair but manageable amount. One of the things that our governing bodies can do immediately is to demand a 20% affordable set-aside rate for the project at 1515 Route 10 and all subsequent apartment projects in Parsippany. The generally accepted set-aside rate for apartments has been 15%, but that percentage is not mandatory. Furthermore, our attorney has stated many times that each project is judged on its own merits. Applied here, that means granting one project a set-aside of 15% does not set a precedent that all projects must have a 15% set-aside. I want you guys to demand 20%. If a developer can get a court to agree that 20% is unreasonable, the fallback is still 15%. Secondly, payment in lieu of taxes, pilot discounts should not be offered to any apartment complex project. Pilot discounts can be a valuable tool in attracting specific development projects that will generate positive revenues for the township. However, we know that apartments are revenue losers. Offering a pilot discount to an apartment complex will only increase that loss. In my opinion, complying with the affordable housing rules and regulations will stretch Parsippany's resources beyond its limits. We need our mayor and our council to take the necessary steps to prevent that from happening, beginning with, but not limited to, the two measures that I've just described. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President, if I may address the 20%.
Yes.
I know that Chatham Borough had enacted a 20% ordinance, which they subsequently revised to 15% because of the economic hardships that it placed on the properties, owners, buyers and sellers. And what I'm telling you, and what I've advised in the past, is that the standard that the courts accept, that Fair Share Housing accept, and that the market accepts is a 15% set aside. Now, there are a number of tools that the township will consider at the appropriate time. For one, with regard to rentals, there is a 2-for-1 credit up to 25% of your overall obligation. And so one of the advantages to the Route 15 project is that the township will get 2-for-1 credits, or should get 2-for-1 credits for the affordable rentals that are be for that project. That is to say that for every one affordable rental, there will be 2 credits awarded to the township. So there's, I believe by my recollection, there's about 66 affordable, so it'll be 66 times 2. I went to law school, not math school, so that will be the number of credits that the township would get. So, you know, the state provides a carrot to municipalities by giving extra credits for rentals and other classifications, which at the appropriate time will go through. The affordable housing plan is a work in process because, as you know, we don't know exactly what our number is. We have these guesstimates, and Parsippany is in an unfortunate position in the sense that the Fair Share Housing expert has Parsippany's number at an astronomical level. It's like over 2,000 units, which is just crazy. And there's such a large disparity between what our consultant says the number should be and what Fair Share Housing's expert says the number should be, that it makes it next to impossible at this juncture to settle the case overall. Also, that's also compounded by the fact that we have a number of interveners in the Parsippany case. Developers want to develop in Parsippany. There are many municipalities in Morris County that may have large obligations, but they don't have very many interveners. I mean, Roxbury, for example, Fair Share Housing has them at over 1,000. I think there's one intervener in Roxbury. That's it. So the market is really, you know, being driven in the eastern Morris County municipalities, Parsippany being one of those towns. The other, you know, another vehicle that the township could consider at some point is, as opposed to taking on more development and having market rate housing pay for affordable housing, the township has an affordable housing trust fund, and it could decide to build its own affordable housing project to some degree if it wanted to do that. Now, there's pluses and minuses to all of that. You know, I'm just laying out what potential strategies could be, and all of those are going to be discussed, you know, at considerable length with the township's planner once, you know, the Mount Laurel cases, you know, begin to develop pressure from the courts. Right now, I think the world is sort of, affordable housing world is awaiting on the decision from Judge Jacobson in Mercer County. The trial was conducted in Mercer County over the summer, and you know, she's a very well respected judge, and her opinion, particularly her view of the various experts, is going to be, I think, important to give guidance to municipalities in terms of where their numbers are likely to be. And I might add that Judge Jacobson retained her own expert in Richard Redding in that case. And so you have the Dr. Kinsey numbers for fair share, you have the e-consult numbers for the municipalities, and you have Richard Redding, who is weighing in with numbers on behalf of the court. And I understand that Richard Redding is in the process of, or has been retained by a number of other judges, Mount Laurel judges around the state. And so it's, unfortunately, it's a slow process, and it's going to be this sort of trial process that is going to help, towns like Parsippany sort of gauge really where we're going to end up. It's not an ideal process, but when you put courts in the position of acting like state agencies, this is what happens. And I don't know, by the way, where the next trial is scheduled after Mercer County. That is another pressure point on municipalities. The rumor mill says it's going to be Burlington County. I don't know that to be true, but if it's in Burlington County, that's going to give municipalities in Morris, for example, not put as much pressure on them, because this band can only play at one location at a time. Because when you have a trial in Burlington, that's where all the experts are, the fair share housing people. You cannot conduct multiple trials simultaneously in the state. They kind of have to go county by county. So there's a lot of variables. There's a ways to go in this process. Appreciate your comments, appreciate your interest. But I just wanted to respond to the 20%. And just briefly in terms of pilots, pilots again are assessed on a project by project basis. I do disagree, and factually disagree with one of the comments you made. You said all apartment complexes are financial losers for towns. I don't think that has been the case in much of the redevelopment that has occurred in Morristown, for example, with regard to the luxury rental units that have been constructed there. I represent Morristown and have been representing Morristown for the last 8 years, and so I'm pretty familiar. I did the Madera deal. I've done all the redevelopment deals that have occurred in Morristown over the last 8 years. I've negotiated those pilots. I've seen the numbers, and I understand a little bit about how pilots work. And I don't think it's accurate to say that apartments are financial net losers on municipalities. But that being the case, if and when pilots are considered, there will be applications presented, there will be financial analysis done by the township's professional, presented to the governing body for review, and they'll be able to make that decision, on their own at that time.
Can I say something?
I will allow you to say something else.
Okay.
Yes.
I have been, with regard to the apartment houses being money losers, I've been in front of this council before with statistics and with documentation that I handed to you, that you could have looked at.
I
And
understand.
based on the 7,000 apartments that we currently have, and that's a pretty big sample, based on those 7,000 apartments, I had statistics from the tax assessor that says they paid $11 million, and I had statistics from the Board of Education that said they sent over 1,200 students, and I have statistics from the state of New Jersey that says it costs $21,000 or $22,000 per student. When you do the multiplication, it came out to $26 million, which puts us in the hole $15 million, based on 7,000. Why is it going to be any different for these new ones?
Not to belabor it, but just
That was a good, very long question, so I'll let him
two quick points.
Hey, you were nonstop there. It was good.
The 2 quick points, and this is actually very good discussion. You're comparing apples and oranges when you compare 1960s style apartments to modern day luxury rentals. They are two completely different animals from a financial perspective and from a demographic perspective. Again, let the facts speak when they come out. Number two, when you look at the number of school children that are being produced from this new luxury rental type of housing, it is demonstrably lower than the housing school children that are produced from the Rutgers Villages, the older style apartments. Look at Avalon Bay and Wharton. I think there were like 9 children at one point, and it's over almost 300 units there. I did the deal on that. I know you look at the number of school children that are coming out in the Morristown redevelopment and other redevelopments. Go to Mount Arlington. I did that project. There's just the facts will speak to themselves. There's demographers that are out there in the state who are very, very good. They have all of this data. The other issue, in terms of cost per school child, I think you will hear, and I'm not an expert, but I've listened to enough of them, and what they will tell you is that it's not a linear cost. You have, and I can't speak to Parsippany, I'm just speaking in generalities. In the state of New Jersey, and this is from Jeffrey Otto, who's a demographer, is very, very good. There's declining school population in the state of New Jersey. Most school districts are losing school children. And so when you look at the cost per child, that I think you'll hear from the experts, that's not the way you have to look at it. You have to look at it in terms of what is the incremental cost. That is to say, if you have a project that is going to generate X number of children, is that going to result in the need for a new classroom, for new teachers, for a new building, or can your existing infrastructure absorb those children? And that's really the analysis when you look at cost and impacts of cost. By the way, not that any of that matters when it comes to affordable housing, as you pointed out, because you're stuck with it irrespective of the cost. But I just wanted to point out a few of those facts, because these are conversations and discussions that the council is going to be very much involved in the months ahead. And they're going to be hearing from all kinds of experts. Again, I don't profess to be an expert on these matters, but I've been in many planning board meetings representing applicants and representing municipalities in which I have the chance to listen and prep these experts, so I know pretty much what they're going to say. But that's just a preview of what's to come.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. I'll be back next meeting
We-
with the next installment.
We'd love to hear from you. Thank you. Is there anybody else from the public like to come forward? Okay, I see no one else. I'd like to entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Carriffy, second by Mrs. Grignani. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Floor is closed.
Okay, we're going to go over ordinances, statuses of adopted ordinances. Look over very briefly. Ordinance 2017:18. Take a moment to read that. Ordinance 2017:19. We're going to move on to the introduction. Mr. DePiero?
Ordinance 2017:23, an ordinance of the Township of Parsippany Troy Hills, Morris County, New Jersey, amending and revising Chapter 329 Sewers, Sections 329-14, sewer connection fees, and 329-15, criteria for future sewage flow, and Chapter 420, water, Sections 420-13, water connection fees, and 420-15, criteria for future water demands of the Code of the Township of Parsippany Troy Hills. Be it resolved that the above ordinance be introduced, read by title, and passed on first reading at a meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany Troy Hills held on September 12, 2017, and that said ordinance be further considered for a second reading and final passage at a meeting to be held on September 26, 2017, at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time, or as soon thereafter as the matter may be reached at the municipal building in said township, at which time all persons interested shall be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the clerk be authorized and directed to advertise said ordinance with the notice of introduction thereof being published in the official newspaper according to law. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second, Grignani.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, second by Mrs. Grignani. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, we're going to be moving on to the second reading and public hearing. Take a moment to read over ordinance number :217:21 and ordinance number 214.
That was,
Is that a typo?
yeah, it's a
17?
typo, I'm sorry.
Okay. 17:22. Take a moment to read over that. Any question, concerns? See none. We'll move on to the consent agenda, the resolutions. 1 through 4. Take a moment to read over that. If you have any question, concerns. I see that we have none. Applications, none. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion.
Second, Grignani.
Motion made by Mr. Carriffy, second by Mrs. Grignani. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
We're adjourned, everyone. Have a good night.